The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of We're Done Here Pod. Make sure you like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you may find us. This week, we're here with a hilarious comedian, Ariel Elias.
Hi.
How are you,
I'm
Ariel?
good. How are you?
I am good.
Yeah?
So, kind of, sort of, yeah.
It's tough. Wait, I lied. I'm not good.
I mean, I'm okay. You know what? I'm fine, actually. But wait, why are you not good?
I was thinking about it today. One, I'm going to get my period in 5 to 6 days.
Oh my God, I have mine now.
It really messes you up.
Yeah.
I heard a violinist today play in Grand Central and I started crying a little bit.
Oh my God,
I'm like,
I hate
at
the
that
pre-period.
It's the pre-period. And then also I realized I haven't seen the sun in like 2 weeks.
That's probably true. You know what it was? You know why I'm kind of happy is because I'm leaving New York tomorrow.
That'll do it.
And not because like I don't love New York. It's because I'm going to Atlanta and it's definitely 20 degrees warmer.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
That's so exciting.
Thank you. But you are super hilarious. We met at a show. I liked you automatically. I
liked you too.
It's so random. We both live in Astoria, but actually I don't know anything about you.
Yeah, sometimes you just get good vibes and good chemistry.
Yeah.
Also, that was a show that started off horribly.
Oh, did it?
Were you not there for the beginning?
I was a little late.
It was a weird show where like the first couple of comics who went up were really angry at the crowd and they were rich and we were like on a rooftop in Midtown or whatever. But the crowd was just like, well, why are you so mad at me? Like it was weird.
Comics get mad at rich people if they're not rich. I guess.
Then you went up and I went up and then it was just like, oh, we're all just here to have fun, which is usually not my vibe. But I think when everybody else is antagonistic, I can become a little bit like, no, come on, guys.
It's a good time.
We're all in it together. But I think that was like a nice little like, this is a refreshing energy.
Oh, got it.
And then we rode the subway together.
Oh, well, good thing that we ended the show because I don't know who else was on that show.
I won't name names.
Okay, great. Fantastic. But tell us a little bit about your comedy journey. Because I know, wait, why are you're already laughing? Is that, I was like, wait, what's wrong with your comedy journey?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think it's, I started stand-up in New Orleans.
Oh, I didn't know that. See,
about 13 years ago.
Wow. You're a veteran.
Yay! It's a long journey. I specifically didn't wear makeup so you could tell how long it's been. And then I moved to New York about 10 years ago. Did like a very traditional path of open mics and grinding it out.
As we do.
And just toiling away in obscurity.
Yes, we do.
Did the road a lot, was featuring a lot.
Oh, nice.
And then COVID hit, which was like a huge like break in everything and sort of had to reevaluate things and figure out like, what am I doing here? Mm-hmm. What is actually funny? Does any of this matter if we're all going to die?
Yeah, that's true.
Because you stayed in Queens, right?
Yeah, I stayed in the store. I was like in a studio apartment, like going crazy.
Yeah, just like walking by the refrigerated trucks every day.
Yeah, basically getting drunk on Zoom with my friends.
Yeah.
Why are we just drinking all day?
Because what else is there to do?
Literally nothing.
There's nothing to not be hungover for.
No, most definitely.
And then the big thing that happened was I had a viral clip when somebody threw a beer can at me in New Jersey, so I drank it, and then since then, I'm zooming around and,
I love that.
moonlighting and stuff. Yeah,
it's so nice to go viral. You know what's so funny? I've never seen the clip that made you go viral.
Really? It is stressful.
Okay, I have to watch it, and our guests, please Google it. Just to watch it or whatever. So that's interesting. So now you're like comedy vet, like outside, like doing it.
We're doing it. Yeah.
Yay,
now it's like paying my rent for real.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like an occasional concert
That's
ticket.
a big deal because you live in New York City. So
Yeah.
this is not paying like Wisconsin rent. This is New York City rent.
Right.
Yeah, so that's impressive. So she's making lots of money. Love that.
We're making lots more money than we used to.
Making lots more money.
But it's still New York. So
okay, fine. Yeah, you still pocket poor.
I'm still honored to have the free bottled water.
Yes, most Definitely. Okay, great. Well, this is We're Done Here pod. So if you've been listening, we've been doing a racial equity series. I know Ariel's a white woman, but she's Jewish. Yes. So that's an ethnic group. Right. Yeah.
Another one.
Shabbat shalom. So I started doing this series because this is an emotional wellness comedy podcast, but I noticed, like, I don't know, there's been a lot of like racial ethnic tension. Like there's all these like hate crimes happening, all this crazy stuff. And I wanted to get different people to come and talk about their experience. Groups of people that I feel also experience similar trauma responses as I do as a Black woman. And definitely the Jewish community has been experiencing that since forever, because they're always talking about the Holocaust. But also since, what was it, October 6th or whatever?
October 7th.
October 7th, whatever. I got the dates fucked up. But you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I do.
But I noticed that literally I was talking to my Jewish girlfriend and I was like, she wasn't making any sense. She basically sounded like a crazy person. And I was like, oh, she's having a trauma response where she's not using logic. She's actually using crazy. And I was like, this is trauma. And I was like, I understand that as a Black woman, because sometimes we have a trauma response. So would love to talk about your Jewish trauma today.
Okay.
Not to say it like that, but yes, tell us about your Jewish journey.
I mean, I'm Jewish. I come from a pretty small community because I'm from Kentucky. So it's like a
Jews
really,
there?
yeah. I mean, one fewer now because I'm here, but
Okay,
it's like a really tight knit community. I don't know. I think it's like when we talk about like the Jewish trauma, it's not. Like, okay, all of my friends growing up were Christian, and it was always so shocking to me that all of their holidays were like celebratory and fun and cute and like, you know, like had like happy stories.
Yes, that makes
Whereas
sense.
like every holiday in Judaism is like, it's trauma based, right?
Oh,
it's like,
okay.
Like the joke is that whenever somebody asks you like, what's this holiday about? The answer is usually, they tried to kill us, they failed, let's eat.
Yeah. That does seem like what's it about.
So yeah, so like every holiday is like passing down this like traumatic story that we're like one more generation removed from. But in Judaism, when we have our holidays, when we celebrate them and we tell the story, we use the collective we. We don't say they, like this happened to them, this happened to us, this happened to me, this happened to. So it feels like, even though you didn't personally experience it, it feels like it was your family.
Oh my God!
Right?
So the trauma is ingrained from a young age.
Yes, it's like, you know how how they say like trauma is passed down genetically, like you can see it in their DNA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jews were like, that's not enough for us. We would also like to make sure you really know it and have a picture in your head.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, because like being Black is different, because like you experience, you know, being Black in America sucks because racism, but whatever. Not saying, and there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there, but it does feel like the Jewish people are really like, it's almost like they're reveling in the trauma, which is interesting.
Well, we love to complain, but I also imagine there's this very different, this traumatic side, because I imagine like for a lot of Black history, part of the trauma is that you don't necessarily know your history from, right? Because it was erased by white people. It was taken away. For Jews, it's very different. It's like, we know where, you know, every Jew can tell you like where their ancestors came from 700 years back. The difference is that history then goes, and then we were kicked out of here, and then we were kicked out of here, and then we were kicked out of here, and now we're here.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So was it hard growing up in Kentucky? Was like coming to New York like, yay, finally, my people?
I thought it would be, but it wasn't. It was really like, I think there's a certain, well, for one, I went to Tulane in New Orleans, so that was my first experience being around a lot of Jews. I mean, it's a good school. I think it was like a third Jewish. And that was like
I didn't know
shocking.
that there were so many Jewish people at Tulane.
They call it Tulane.
Oh.
So
I won't be saying that.
It was and I don't think you should. But I think like because it's there's such a cultural difference between the Northeast and the South.
Yeah, big.
And I think a lot of people, and a lot of like New York Jews too, will conflate Northeast culture with Jewish culture.
Yes, that's true.
So I remember when I moved here, feeling like I had to prove my Jewishness because I didn't grow up in New York. And I remember that one time, do you remember those... oh, maybe you don't because you started comedy. How long have you been doing comedy?
4 years.
Okay. There used to be these shows that would be like in hostels around Chinatown.
Oh.
And then one random comedian would like bartend and hope to get a guest spot in case somebody didn't show up because it was for sure illegal. But I remember bartending once. And I don't remember how it came up, but this guy, maybe he was hitting on me. He found out I was Jewish from Kentucky. And he was like, oh, I'm not Jewish, but like, I'm from New York and like, I know a good bagel. And I was like, well, I didn't. God. It was one of those things where I was like, well, I didn't grow up with good bagels. Does that make me less Jewish?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Or like, this is a tirade that I go off on often, but like the star of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan, is not Jewish, but plays this very Jewish character. Girl, it is a huge pet peeve of mine when Jews. I could have swore she was Jewish. She's not Jewish, and there is an interview that she's incredibly talented. I think she's
great
so
show.
funny. She's an incredible actor. That show's great. But there was an interview where she said, "Well, I'm not Jewish, but I'm from like Westchester or whatever, and I grew up going to a lot of bat mitzvahs." And that was another thing where I was like, "Well, I didn't grow up going to a lot of those. Does that make me less Jewish than this person?"
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think when I came here, in Kentucky, I'm more Jewish than almost everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I came here and I felt like not Jewish at all. And then one time I got off the subway and I got off by accident in Williamsburg and was surrounded by Hasidic Jews.
Yeah.
And my first reaction was like, oh my God, my people. And then I was like,
those are not your people.
Absolutely not. Those are not. So it was really hard to like figure out like my Jewish place when I came to New York.
Oh wow, that's so that's so interesting because like I mean, of course, I'm from here. I'm from Queens specifically, which has a huge Jewish population. And then I hear a lot of my Jewish friends talk, and they're always saying like, well, they equate Judaism to like Lower East Side culture from 50 years ago. Like that's the culture, the lox and the bagels and all that. But like you're still Jewish without that. So that's a great point. Yeah, and Black people face that too. Like I don't know, I couldn't rap growing up, so my white friends would make fun of me who could rap. But anyway.
Did you grow up around like a lot of white people too?
I was in Astoria, so it was like I grew up with like I guess they were white, but they were like ethnic white.
Yeah.
But it was also like multicultural. So there was not one group. There just weren't a lot of Black people. Like there were Black people, but they like lived out. They didn't live on my block specifically, so I had to like it's either my family or like my friends who happen to be Black, or the Blacks. And my dad's African, so a bunch of other Blacks that aren't American. So like I didn't meet like a good group of Black Americans probably until college, I would say, because the other Blacks that got busted. No, it's true. The other Blacks, I don't know. They was like always like, who's this preppy Black girl? I was like, first of all, I'm not preppy. I just live on Ditmars, like type shit. But no, it was still cool though. It was still like everyone was like a little too ghetto in my neighborhood. Like I grew up around a bunch of poor white people, working class Latinos, and like I don't know, a bunch of everyone. So yeah, that's how it was. But yeah, it was a story. You live there now. You know who lives there.
Yeah, but I imagine like when you were a kid, like in the 10 years that I've lived there, it's changed a lot. So I imagine
there's a lot more like. I don't know who those people are, but there's a lot more of those. But it used to be like all immigrants. Nobody spoke English.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be like super immigrant neighborhood. And then the few people that did speak English, like whatever, right? They were like working class folks. So that's interesting, what you're saying, not feeling Jewish enough. In terms of like being ostracized, or do you feel like, because you might not feel like there's trauma, because Jews are interested in the sense that there's a lot of anti-Semitism, but like in New York City, when you're around your people, I'm assuming like you're not. You know what I mean?
I think like in the real world, you get protected a lot from it, and then the second you open up any comment section. Because, like we put videos out there and boy, do people like to comment. And then the second you see that, you're like, oh, right.
It's like, oh, I forgot.
Everybody is kind of terrible.
Everyone's a terrible.
Not everybody, but.
I argue with people in comment sections all the time.
I know you do. I've seen that. Are you okay?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's like my favorite pastime. I've been doing it my whole life, so it's a little weird. People think it's weird, but I'm like, it's pretty. I just like telling people off and Also, I'm usually right. So I'm just like, you guys are stupid. That's just how I act. It's really weird. But everyone's like, Meka, I see you commenting. I was like, somebody got to say something. So yeah, the comment sections, I can see that for sure. There's also been like a lot of hate in terms of like people, I don't know, people have been, there was a synagogue shooting or something. Yeah, make that up?
There have been a few, but it is something. So I perform at synagogues a lot, and it's really cool to see sort of like what they have in common and what they don't, and which ones remind me of home. But universally, the thing that they all have are doors that lock automatically in case of an active shooter. And the other thing they universally have is a police officer or security guard stationed outside.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where you're like, oh, yeah. Like we're targets, you know what I mean? Like
that makes sense. I guess I haven't been to a black church in a while to know if we're doing, because our church got shot up as well. But I go to a multicultural church, so I don't really. Actually, I haven't been paying attention about No, we have metal detectors. Yes, and there is security guards.
Yeah.
Okay, I just never thought about it. Okay, yeah, I wasn't even thinking.
And I don't know if that's more of like a Jewish thing or just like this is America, and you never know.
It might right now just be a church thing or like any place of worship thing. Yeah, just United States.
What branch are you?
I'm not. I don't really care. I just where my mama goes. I mean, she's like a born again Christian. She's like a crazy Christian type. So we go to those mega churches. Yeah, we go to those like.
You go to a mega church?
Yeah. Definitely go to the mega church.
Is there like good? I've been to a mega church maybe 2 times, and I remember being like, it really feels like you're at a concert.
No,
it's
it definitely
wild.
feels, yeah, we got bands, we got like a 300 person choir, like it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mega churches is what's up. And my mom used to be in the choir, it used to be so cool. Anyway, shout out to Times Square Church. That's where I go when they make me go to church. But so you're saying you experience more hate online. Actually, I was in your comment section.
You were in my comment section.
So it was some Jewish people being anti-Semitic to you.
Okay, that was something that happened a lot in the last.
I had to call them out, be like, yo, what the hell? They're like, we're Jewish. I'm like, so what the fuck are you doing?
And you're like, yeah, so why are you just like repeating these stereotypes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield right now. Did I say minefield? I meant to say minefield.
Mindfuck? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was going to say.
All right, so back to the trauma response, because I started noticing, of course, after October 7th or whatever, but of course, throughout my whole life, like you said, it's in the culture. But do you feel like things have heightened online now? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel safe? Do you feel unsafe? Like, how do you feel?
I feel sad.
That's true. Yeah, sad. Yeah,
I don't know.
Sad.
I don't know if I don't feel unsafe. I mean, I have a pit bull.
Okay.
And like pepper spray. I don't know. I think people blow off a lot of steam online because they are looking at a screen, and I think if they were looking into your eyes, it would be very different.
Of course.
So I do think a lot of the rhetoric that gets thrown online will not cross over into the real world for the most part. There are exceptions, obviously. But it just makes me feel so sad because I also think that we all have all of this like pent up trauma from the pandemic that we don't talk about. And then we find something else like a Jew online talking about being Jewish or whatever and decide that this is the outlet.
Yeah.
But I just think we all have. And I the other night at dinner we started talking about the pandemic, and my husband was like, why are we talking about this? And I was like, because it was awful for everybody.
And it was like,
and he, as soon as I said it, he was like, oh yeah. It was like, you can't just like move on from that. Yeah. We're all so fucked from that.
No, we really are. It's crazy. The pandemic's been crazy. Yeah.
Where we're just like, it's over.
It's like, no, it's kind of, I aged and it was like a whole crazy, so much shit happened in the pandemic. That's interesting. So you actually think it's a lot, I can see that like people are just like trying to like, I don't know, everyone's acting very crazy though.
Well, and I think like certain groups that have gone through a lot of trauma, whether it's Black people or it's Jews, I think maybe handled it a little bit better and are more open to talking about it because we've experienced trauma before. And it's an unfortunate thing that we've learned how to deal with, as opposed to like, I don't know, people who are already isolated or.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that. Or people who are, I feel like, I don't know, regular white people discovered they were a group. I don't know.
Like,
like, oh, we're what?
Or just like wasps who don't know how to talk about their feelings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like really weird. It's like I was like, oh, they're like, because when you say white people, honestly, white people react really crazy is because they're not used to being called a thing, but they do act like a group. So I'm like confused. It's like, you all acting the same. So like, or like they have similar character. That's why they're being grouped together like that, like white people stuff, which is mainstream culture. Jews are interesting in that sense because not all Jews are white, but Jewish Americans, Ashkenazi Jews specifically, like that particular type of New York Jew, has assimilated to whiteness. Yeah. So I think also there's this dichotomy of this younger generation who doesn't know, that doesn't even understand the fact that certain Jews assimilated to whiteness, right, and have been perpetuating a certain kind of white supremacy. Yep. So they only see that. And then you bake that with like the white supremacist stereotype that Jewish people control everything. And then that gets baked into it. And it's like a circle of like, I don't know, because I watch it like, because, I love social science. Like, I was a poli-sci major. So I watch it as an interesting social experiment of like an oppressed group that assimilated to a non-oppression. And then people are criticizing governments, but conflating that with the people. Yep. And then I try to be like, well, we are from the United States. You wouldn't want to be associated with our government, would you? But like people don't even understand that. And especially these younger kids, they like, not to call them younger kids, like I feel like I like their activism, but I just feel like some of it has a tinge of anti-Semitism, which they don't even understand.
Yeah, it's like a subconscious.
Yeah, it's like so ingrained. Like anti-blackness is like very ingrained, so you don't even know when it's happening because it happens so often.
I think there's that's a great observation. I think there's another layer to it also, which is that Jews, a lot of our stories, and it's true, is that we have been the victims of oppression. Mm-hmm. And so we do not see in many cases that we can also be the perpetrators of oppression. Mm-hmm. So you start to feel like, oh, anything I do is fair, as opposed to recognizing like the cycle of abuse is that those who have been abused become abusers.
Yes, yes.
Which is not to say that like Jews are now abused. It's just to say that like we are capable of it, just like any other group.
Yeah, no, it's the way it goes, but people don't look at things nuanced in that kind of way. So how are you coping with this like violence online?
Oh, I'm really trying to not read the comments.
Oh wow, you do that? I read all the comments
and respond.
Yes.
No, I really try. I'll just do a quick block to anything that I see.
That's really brave of you.
I write every morning. I write my feelings.
Seems very balanced.
I do my morning pages, 3 pages every morning.
Oh, nice.
I go for a lot of walks.
Oh, that's nice.
I grind my teeth.
Oh, that's not
I don't want you to think that it's all healthy.
That's not good. Grinding your teeth isn't good.
I eat a lot of ice cream.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, like fancy ice cream. I got fancy ice cream.
Oh, the $7 tubs.
Oh, girl. I'm getting like, so we order ice cream from Jenny's. Have you had Jenny's ice cream?
No, who's that?
Okay, come over.
Jenny. I'm like, who does an ice cream with a name?
Come over. We have a ton. So basically, there are no ice cream shops. Have you had Jenny's?
I think I have. I've had a lot of them.
Okay. Now we have to Google Jenny's.
Do you remember when Nancy Pelosi gave like a tour of her home during COVID and opened her fridge and freezer and there was a bunch of ice cream and people gave her a lot of shit for having expensive ice cream?
Okay, maybe.
It was Jenny's. And I remember seeing that and thinking like, yeah, but if you have that much money and you're not spending it on fancy ice cream, you don't deserve that money.
How much is this ice cream?
It's like $12 a pint.
Wow.
It's a lot. But and then the delivery, so I order it from the website and the delivery is like $15. So then I just order like like 12 cartons because you have to make it worth it.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
And this is what I'm doing with my newfound money.
You know what?
I'm paying my rent and I'm ordering Jenny's.
Oh my God. First of all, you're living the life that I would like to one day live.
So come over and come eat Jenny's.
Okay.
We'll do a taste test.
I would love that. Like, also, this is my future. I would like to quit my day job and eat expensive ice cream and write and take walks in the morning.
Yeah, it's really great.
I love that.
I was in therapy for a little bit, and then my therapist, she was a student therapist. She was getting her hours, and I think at some point she didn't know what to do with me, and so we had an amicable breakup.
I can see that. So you stopped the therapy. You're not really.
Yeah, I got a lot of. My mom was also a therapist. So
oh, okay. Not to say it like that.
No, that's a fair way to say.
We need another episode on that.
I got a lot of tools from it. I think I process a lot of things internally as opposed to talking to somebody. So the writing for me is very helpful. And then if I get to a point where I'm like, I feel like I can't handle this anymore, I'll go back to therapy. But
okay, yeah, that's how I approached it. I was in therapy for like a decade. And then I was like, I don't need to talk anymore.
Yeah.
And then if I ever get too crazy, I'll go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
If I'm depressed more than I'm not depressed, then I'll go back to therapy.
But yeah, also awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. This will be part 3. And I was like, should we call it racial trauma? Even though the Jews are confusing.
It's so complicated. We are both a religion and a race.
Yeah.
It's very complicated. My mom's Ashkenazi, my dad's Sephardic.
Nice.
But Jews are also weird because like Judaism itself, like the religion part is passed down through your mom.
Yes.
But the racial part of whether you're Ashkenazi or Sephardic is passed down through your dad.
Oh, I know that part.
Yeah. So it's, it's all a mess.
Sounds messy. And that's why there's trauma. I love it. So this is We're Done Here pod. So we're done with.
Are we done here?
We're kind of done with the trauma part. Is there anything you're not done with?
Ooh, anything I'm not done with? What do you mean?
Like, I don't know, pop culture or otherwise, like anything you're like feel outside of the ice cream, like anything like you're just like into right now?
I've been doing a lot of Sudoku before bed.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I don't think it is.
Okay. I guess I said that because I didn't know. I was like, oh, well, I guess I said that like, oh, that's interesting. As in, what the hell is that?
It's the number grid.
Oh, okay.
I really like puzzles. So I do that. I do crossword puzzles. I'm working on a jigsaw puzzle right now on my table. Oh gosh, what else am I into? I don't know. I watch Jeopardy.
Okay,
I'm 70.
That could be a thing. Well, let me think about something I'm not done with. What have I been really into this week? Okay, so I am not done with Facebook,
Ooh,
which is crazy because I hate Facebook. But you know what I've noticed? Like these Facebook groups are actually really helpful.
What Facebook groups are you in?
So I'm in tons of Facebook groups. So there's tons of like comedian ones, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's like these other ones that are just like random groups for just anything. There's like, are we dating the same guy?
Oh, I love Are We Dating the Same Guy?
Which is like a great, that's the thing, it's a great group. And then there's like all these like New York City apartment groups or like things to do in New York groups, which are fantastic, which is like people give the worst advice. I'm like, I'm a real New Yorker. I'll tell you where you gotta go kind of thing. And I don't know, I'm just in so many groups. It's like so stupid.
I do love an Are You Dating the Same Guy? If you just type in comedian and see who comes up.
There's so many comedians in that group. But then they think we're all crazy. I was like,
yes, they do.
But I was like, that's the dudes, not the girls. Like,
every comment is like, red flag if he says he's a comedian.
I'm like, who? I was like, why are these idiots out here making us look bad?
Okay, I'm not done with Etsy.
Etsy. I've never got on it.
I love Etsy. Look, you find something you like, you place an order, and 3 months later it shows up at your door. And I love it because you forget you ordered it, and then the next thing you know, you have a cute little butter dish with an octopus tentacle on it. And I love it so much.
Wow. So I got to get into Etsy.
Get into Etsy and Jenny's Icecream. That's all I can...
Well,
also, Jenny, sponsor me. This is like the 7th podcast I've mentioned you on. Send me a gift card or a T-shirt or something.
Are you just promoting Jenny's online? I was like, now I'm going to eat it, Jenny, so you might as well follow up. Anyway, but thank you so much, Ariel. Where can I guess find you?
You can find me at Ariel_comedy on everything. And please don't say anything anti-Semitic in the comments.
Oh, this has been another episode of We're Done Here. Thank you so much, guys.